Hello friends, welcome to my channel Lit Culture. Today we are going to discuss about Old English or Anglo-Saxon period in the history of English literature. We know that Old English or Anglo-Saxon period was started in 450 and it continued till 1066. But the question is, what happened before the starting of Old English period? What was the historical context of the Old English period? Now the question is why we should know about the historical context of a particular period, as we are the student of literature. And to give the answer, I would like to refer Sheldon Pollock. Sheldon Pollock says that literature is historically situated practice. So, literature is produced within a situation. Now, what is history? History is a record of this situation which contains power, politics, social practice, and cultures. And within this situation, a cultural production is produced. So, all these are interrelated or interconnected. For the better understanding of a literary production, we should know about all these situations and historical contexts. Now, we will have a look the land before Anglo-Saxon invasion. The land, which is now called England, was divided into different parts like Mercia, East Midland, Wessex, Sussex, Kent, and at that time period there were two tribals group of people, Celt and Gaul, and they had their own languages, Celtic and Gaelic. We should know that language has a great role to the development of any kind of literature. So there were two tribal language, Celtic and Gaelic. But in 52 VC, Roman King Julius Caesar attacked the land and Romans ruled the island, and their language, Latin, became the language of ruling class or the language for communication. But in 410, Romans left the land and it became open for all to invade, because we know that in Old English time period there was no concept of border or nation. So a group of people attacked the land or invaded the land and started to rule. Now we will discuss about the invasion of Anglo-Saxon group of people. 449 Saxons and Jutes. They attacked the land and they are Germanic tribes, and the Anglo-Saxon invaded the land and made their settlement in different parts of the land. Angles settled in Northumbria, Mercia, and East Anglia. Saxon in Wessex, Sussex, and Essex. Jute settled in Kent, that is Canterbury. And Viking, a group of people, also attacked the land in 8th and 9th centuries, but they took the policy of hit and run. Invasion of Anglo-Saxon greatly impacted the religion and literature, language also. So now we are looking at the Anglo-Saxon religion, literature, and language. Germanic tribes have their own pagan belief, and Christianity is also rooted in this land. As we know that 597 Roman cleric Saint Augustine arrived in this land, and he was sent by King Gregory the Great, and he spreaded the Christianity. King Ethelbert, king of Kent, was converted to Christianity by the saint, and the church promoted Christianity. They brought education and written literature. So the pagan belief of the Germanic tribes and the institutional religion Christianity is already grounded. So we can find a mix of paganism and Christianity. So a mixed value of paganism and Christianity was reflected in the literature of Anglo-Saxon period. Literature was in oral tradition and written form also, and spreads by scoffs who recited long epic poem, and in the long epic poem we can find the use of alliteration, the repetition of sound, and it is very easy to memorize. Even it's pleasing to listen, and the use of kennings, for example bone house, it is used to refer body. So this is about the changes and development of religious belief. And now the language, the amalgamation of all these dialects like Anglo, Saxons, Jutes, Celtic, Gaelic became the Old English language. And Bede, who wrote the history of English church and people in 731 in Latin, which records the history and literatures in Old English period. And it must be noted that it was Kidman who wrote for the first time in Old English language. Preservation of Anglo-Saxon literature. Literature is already developed, already grown. Now the question is how we know about the all kind of literature in Old English period. So in the history we can find that preservation of literature of this Old English period, which help the student of literature to access all this literature. And for the better understanding of Old English literary works, we can divide all these literature in two parts. That is, it's according to its preservation and according to its features or genres, like poetry, like elegy, like heroic poetry, like religious poetry. Now we will discuss categorization according to its preservation. Some 30,000 lines of Anglo-Saxon poetry have survived, and these are contained in 4 manuscripts. The source of 30,000 lines are 4 manuscripts, and these manuscripts are the Beowulf manuscript, the Junius manuscript, the Exeter book, and the Versailles book. The Beowulf manuscript, it is preserved in the British Museum in 1000th century, collected by Sir Robert Cotton, and it contains the poems named Beowulf and Judith. Now Junius manuscript. Junius manuscript preserved in Bodleian Library, Oxford, and this manuscript was given by Junius librarian to Lord Arundel, and it was first printed in 1655. It contains Kidmonian poems. The poems are Genesis, Exodus, Daniel, Christ, and Satan. Now the Exeter book, donated by Bishop Leofric to the Exeter Cathedral in 1050, containing signed poems of Sanulf. Poems are Christ, Juliana, the Wanderer, the Seafarer, Widsith, and Dior. Now the Versailles book, preserved in the Cathedral Library at Versailles near Milan. Poems are Andrews, the Fates of Apostles, the Dream of the Root, and Eileen. Categorization of Old English poetry according to its features. The pagan poems. The pagan poems or heroic poems celebrates the earthly glory and which shows the bravery of heroes in the battlefield. And these poems are Widsith, Walderer, Fight at Finnsburg, the Battle of Brunanburh, and the Battle of Malden. Even Beowulf. Beowulf is mixed with paganism and Christianity. Beowulf is also a heroic epic. Now elegies. Elegies we can find the Wanderer, the Seafarer, Wife's Lament, and Husband's Meshes. Kidmonian poem. Kidmon wrote the Genesis, Exodus, Daniel, Christ, and Satan. And Sinulf Grove, it contains the poem Juliana, Eileen, Christ, and the Fates of Apostles. In this lecture, we discuss only about the works of Old English literature, only literary works, but not in detail. In the next part, we will discuss all these literary works in detail. So thank you very much.